I was waiting for this moment when I was going to be healthy again, back to normal again, and probably go back to my old life again of being a singer. And everything changed when I told the truth. And that was the day that changed everything. So today I'm going to attempt to share with you my health journey that I've had, the battle with ulcerative colitis, living with an ileostomy bag, spanning back from really 2012. And I'm going to try and say it all in 10 minutes, but it's not going to be just a long list of all the medical things I went through. What I'm really interested in, what will hopefully be useful to you as well, is me describing what it felt like to go through each one of those stages and chapters in my life, those transitions. So almost the psychology behind each one of these moments. So let's start from when we didn't even know what colitis was. We'd never heard of it and life was going great. So I have to go back to 2011 for that. And I was singing, I was performing, I'd traveling, bits of modeling, friends, girlfriends, partners at the time and everything. And so life was really great. I was actually having one of the best years of my life in around 2011, actually 2012. And then in 2012, I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And at the time, I'd never even heard of it. It's like, what's that? And that was quite tough to go through the process of being diagnosed with something, and then you have to look it up on Google, and you don't even really know anything about it. You don't even know anyone who's got it or anyone to talk to about it. And at this point, it was just seen as a mild form of ulcerative colitis, actually proctitis, I think. So just a small area was meant to be diagnosed at this point. And I had a batch of steroids to take the inflammation down, and of course got the moon face. So sometimes when you take steroids, you can get that blow up moon face, as they call it. But being from the modeling world, like, this was, at the time, I didn't know what was about to come, but at the time, this was incredibly difficult, I remember. And I remember like going out, and I wasn't telling anyone at this point at all. And I'd still be socializing because I had a really adventurous social life at the time. And then I was going out and seeing people, and they were like, "Oh, you look really different." I was like, "Oh, right." And I just tried to play it innocently. But that was really tough at the time, actually. Yeah, anyway, and then go to the toughest year in a sense was 2013. That's when suddenly the health went downhill. I was bleeding 20 times a day, and I was basically pretty much going downhill so much, and I lost so much weight. I went down to 8 stone and ended up having life-saving surgery to take my entire colon out, or else it would have burst within a few days and I would have died. I literally would have been in the 27 club. Um, that's all a bit of a blur that time, because I was on so many pharmaceutical drugs trying to heal me desperately before this emergency operation, that it is a bit of a blur. Thank heavens my mum and dad were around during that time. But anyway, I wake up with the ileostomy bag. And of course, they do say that you're going to have this surgery and you're going to wake up with an ileostomy bag. But at the time, I was so weak. I was so ill. I mean, I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't even get up to go to the toilet. I was that weak and frail and fragile that you sort of go, yeah, yeah, okay. And then I remember the first time seeing that when I woke up from the surgery, and I'll talk about this more in the future, but nothing prepares you for when you first see the ileostomy bag on your own body, on your own skin. That was a harrowing moment that I remember me and my mom, we just looked at each other and just cried. And still gets me, you see. It's tough, but that was one of the darkest times for sure. Then from there, I had been told that there was something they could do because, of course, my whole identity and my whole life at the time was a singer and cruise ships and traveling the world. And I wasn't ready to live with a bag for the rest of my life. So we were informed that there was this procedure they could do called a J pouch procedure surgery, where they actually take the small intestine that you've got inside you left, and they sort of make a pouch out of that, and then you can get rid of the bag and you no longer need it. So after this point, there was several years of the process of making the J pouch, having that operation to make it inside me, and then there was a lot of small operations during this time. I remember one time I was housebound pretty much for a year. I had 30 small operations, and I carried around a blood bottle as a drain, a drain that was draining my blood. And I had that for months and months on end, and that was really difficult psychologically to cope with at the time. But the day of hope was upon us in 2016 when we were told that they were going to try and connect the J pouch and then we could get rid of the ileostomy bag. So this was the day where it's like, okay, great, this is what I've been waiting for. And then I can be back to normal again and probably go back to my old life again of being a singer and traveling and all that. And we had the operation in 2016. I woke up, and just 6 months later, there was a tiny, tiny hole inside the J pouch itself that was then leaking into my system. So then I was getting sepsis. And then again, that was the second life-saving operation. I remember that one day I came in so ill again that they were like, if we don't reverse this now again, there's, he would have really bad sepsis, and this is an emergency operation again, really a life-saving one. I was probably a few days away again from dying, which was tough. But the tough part here was not about the ileostomy bag. It seems like it was, but the tough part was, okay, now how am I going to move on with life? I was waiting for this moment when I was going to be healthy again, when I was going to be back to normal again, like back to the old Chris, back to the old friends, back to the old career. And so when that operation that I've been waiting for years didn't work out, well, what did that mean then for me and my career, friends, sexual relationships, confidence, self-esteem, stigma? So it's not the ileostomy bag in and of itself, it's what it represents as a whole of all the areas in which you feel like it's affecting your life. But still, I had a passion for singing, and I thought, well, I can't travel the world anymore. I didn't feel well enough to either. And I decided to be a singing coach, and I learned piano from scratch at this time. I had a lot of spare time at home to just sit there. And I really wanted to do that just to be back out in society again. Yes, I was passionate about the singing coaching, but truthfully, it was the singing coaching was just the vehicle to help me get a bit of my life back again, get a bit back out in society, a few friends, just to feel like I was doing okay in life again, rather than just feeling like I was just in the absolute trenches and the absolute dumps of life. So that was really the aspect behind that. And I did very well with it because I had a lot of negative energy. I had something to prove to myself and to others, the people that maybe didn't stay with me during the course of that health ordeal that was really tough. So it was, a little bit of a middle finger up to some people as well, that I wanted to prove that I could get my life back, to myself and to others. And that went well. And I had a studio in central London, and I worked with Boy George, and there were so many great times and opportunities came from that. But everything changed when I told the truth. The success of the singing coaching, coaching Boy George, being back out in society again after years of just traumatic times and operations, it didn't save me in a sense. Yes, it was important, but I had this feeling of just shame because I'd never told anyone about anything I'd really been through. Only a couple of people knew. So everyone I was interacting with in life, I'm almost always putting on this front of pretending like everything's fine and normal. And I could feel that. And the success was never going to replace that of being a vocal coach. It was never going to replace it. So I decided to share my truth. And that was the day that changed everything. It changed the story I had around everything I went through. And it was really exposure therapy for me to come head on, face to face with just being me, just being authentic, just being real, just saying, this is my story, and just owning it. And that was incredibly powerful for me personally. I'm not saying everyone should share their truth, and that's going to exactly work for everyone. And you need to shout it on the rooftops on YouTube, like I did, and millions of people watch it. But that was the gateway for me to release a lot of that shame. It was quite a direct, head-on, strong, pardon me, very extreme version in a sense of exposure therapy and confronting all my demons head on. So from there, just to conclude pretty much, I went on and had other years in life and explored different aspects of life that I'd missed out on, whether it be socializing again, going out, partying, relationships. I'll talk more about that in more detail in the future. But just to round this overview off, in 2024, in the November of 2024, the end of 24, I had the operation, which was a massive operation again, to remove that J pouch that didn't work, that was sitting inside me, and to remove that. And that was a huge operation. And I remember having to go to the sperm clinic to to do all that in a fertility way, because they told me that this operation is so big, there's a decent chance you might never be able to have kids, and I don't currently have kids. So there's a lot of scary things came up there as well, and I would love to sit here after telling you that story, and obviously that's just scratching the surface. I'd love to sit here and say that I'm all healthy and I'm all well and it all worked out brilliantly. Um, but unfortunately, there's a few things I still am working on, and there's a bits of healing that I need to do. I'm still have the possibility of needing to go in again and have another op. And as I was thinking about this YouTube channel, I've been wanting to do this again and start again for a long while, but I had it in my head that I need to wait till I'm better again, and then I'll start. And I've just come to the realization, and it is honestly a bit of a weight off the shoulders in a sense, that it's like, okay, I don't need to wait till I'm fully healthy, till I'm this inspirational guy, till I'm ripped in the gym to start the channel again and just share what I want to share, because it's actually healing for me to share like this. As another way of healing for me. But the real challenges throughout these times were not the surgeries themselves. Yes, of course they were, but it's deeper than that. It's what they represented. And they represented a real identity shift. Before I was Chris Mitchell, the singer. Now I'm Christopher David Mitchell, I don't know, I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber, but you know what I mean? When I came out of the health ordeal at its worst, I really felt like at one point that I could never go back to the life I had, that I could never go back to the career and the friends. And I'd also moved on a lot. That's the other thing about trauma, too. It changes you and it does grow you a lot as a person with your inner development, and your values change over time when you go through things like that. I'd be much more interested now going on a meditation retreat somewhere than going to watch a West End show, say. Although I still love music, but it's changed a lot. You change as you go through really tough, challenging circumstances because you have to in order to adapt, to level up, to survive. The other tricky parts is just the feeling of throughout the process of getting your hopes up and getting them crushed. And this happened and is still happening without that closure. You're always in some sort of survival mode. And that was tricky the whole time. It was like this, the hope of, just one more operation, or I've only got 6 months to go, and I've only got another 6 months to go, and I've only got a year till this happens, or now a year of healing till this happens. And life always being at this point where it's going to start then, it's going to start then. And I've just come to the point where I just realized that that might never happen and I need to start now. But the difficulty and the frustration I still feel it sometimes, of feeling like you're progressing in life and then you just get smacked back down to rock bottom again. And then your hopes are coming up and then you're just smacked right down to rock bottom again. And that's really challenging to get back up and get back up and get back up and keep the optimism. And don't get me wrong, I've not been perfect at it. There's been times where I've definitely struggled with that naturally. But those have been the real challenging times, the identity changes, the feeling that you could never go back to who you were, the dark night of the soul it is in the spiritual terms, that real ego death, if we want to get a bit down the whole personal development route here, where it's basically just one part of you is really dying as your identity dies and as the new one grows. And it's a real painful process, especially with a lot of uncertainty. So I'll be talking more about this in the future and speaking honestly as I still continue this journey through life. All right, thanks.